Hi, I'm Steve Hall from Chain Reaction Strategy. Thanks for joining me today. My hope is that when you finished watching this video, you'll have come away with some new insights and interest. I learned some information that I thought was interesting and might be fun to share with you. I was curious about industry productivity growth and did a little bit of digging. Since 1965, industry's seen phenomenal growth, about 200%. Well, make that most industry. Growth has been in about every sector except two: farming and, yeah, you guessed it, construction. Construction's actually lost productivity since 1965. And a little related insight, various construction associations cite that between 40 and 60% of projects are behind schedule and or over budget. Sure, progress is being made in construction, things like smart technology, building information modeling, and 3D printing, but there's something else here that's dragging down overall productivity. So what's going on? When those statistics about construction productivity were released, people buying and building started to question why things hadn't improved in 35 years, and they wondered what was dragging down productivity. How could they change the trajectory? 20 years of research determined that the biggest factor in projects being performed over budget and late are the inefficiencies built into the current project delivery system. Of course, some of the issues with project delivery lie in the inherent nature of the work. We're designing and building things that have never been designed or built before. But that's not the biggest issue. The biggest issue with current delivery is that it generates a barrier between the planning stage and the doing stage. This barrier creates a lack of direct communication between the groups, extends the length of turnaround time for making decisions, and creates a variety of inefficiencies in a project. And it's the inefficiencies that are created, it's really what's hurting productivity in the construction industry. So to address this, lean construction was created. So lean construction is about continuous improvement to minimize cost and maximize value to everyone on a project. It's about reducing those inefficiencies. It's a systematic approach to address variations in workflow. So workers aren't waiting for work, or work isn't waiting for workers, because we all know that variations corrupt operations and negatively affect downstream performance. So to change the trajectory, lean construction then engages you to rethink who the customer is, what value is, and what waste is. View the customer as the next person in a process that you're both involved in. Redefine value to be enabling that customer to achieve their objectives. And then understand waste to be anything with a cost that can be eliminated without reducing value delivered to that customer. How does lean address inefficiencies? Well, there's a bunch of ways. First, eliminate waste. Waste, again, anything that takes time, resources, or space but does not add value to the product or service delivered. Actually, there's 7 different types of waste. First, overproduction. Producing more than required, making unnecessary products. An example would be excavating an area larger than necessary to install a pipe. Second is inventory. It would be hoarding unnecessary raw supplies, having too much work in process, or product finished early and just sitting. Could be a stockpile of material on site delivered too early. It could be disruptive, tie up your cash flow. Transportation is third, which relates to how many times something is moved or transported. So moving material on site several times would be an example of this. Waiting is fourth, which includes time delays and idle time, back to, again, workers waiting for work or work waiting for workers. And we've all seen crew B standing around waiting for work to be finished by crew A. The fifth waste is motion, which is the action of people or equipment that do not add value. Imagine the bucket of an excavator swinging the long way around every time. Defects. Another common waste is producing a scrap part or one that requires rework. We've all had to go back and correct mistakes that were made during the installation process. And lastly, and often overlooked, is the waste of underutilization of human resources. And this is addressing ideas and suggestions from team members at all levels. Frequently, the suggestion brought forth to improve a task is coming from the person performing that task, so they might just be the right one to improve it. So tying together then the value and the waste mentioned earlier relative to your work for the customer. So break down your work into 3 categories: value add work, work required to operate the business, and work the customer pays for. Things like placing the pipe, soldering connections, performing your chlorine testing. Then there's essential non-value work, work required to operate the business, but the customer's not willing to pay for it. Things like running your accounting department or equipment repairs at your shop. And then there's waste non-value work. Work not required by the business, nor is the client willing to pay for it. So that's things like fine finishing a foundation wall that's going to be backfilled, or walking back and forth multiple times to get tools or material. And the second way that lean construction reduces inefficiencies is lean assembly, and it does it in a few key ways. It views the construction site as an assembly site, not a fabrication site. So, as often as possible, do work prior in a controlled environment. Fabricated parts are then shipped to the site for install. Fabricating in a controlled environment causes less disruption, will have less interruption, and presents fewer possibilities for error. An example might be building the connections in T-valves. Then it includes coordinating your assembly with the other installed components. understanding how they interact with your components, and then collaborating and planning for seamless integration. And then third, Lean assembly follows the 5S rule, which boils down to everything being organized and having home, everything's always in its home, everything's kept neat and tidy, everything is standardized and consistent, and then checks and balances are in place to make sure that this is all maintained. Imagine a couple dozen service trucks all kitted out following those rules and the benefits it might provide. Workers moving seamlessly from truck to truck, training new employees might be easier, so we'd be seeing the state of your equipment or know if anything is missing. And the last method of lean construction dealing with inefficiencies that I'm going to talk about today is the last planner system. And this refines the scheduling system to include interaction and collaboration between everybody in the project, and it breaks it planning down into 5 different parts. The master schedule, which is your 30,000 foot view and setting milestones. Phase scheduling, bringing in those performing the work to participate in building the schedule, and this way it's not thrust upon them and it becomes more reliable and more accurate. Then, make-ready planning, analysis on your activities. Make sure that they've got the required inputs, the directives, the prerequisites, the resources. Vet the activities for definition, sequence, soundness, size, learning. Again, this is a great time to identify any red flags that might need correcting. Your weekly work planning. So it's determining your weekly activities, comparing the completed activities against what was planned, your planned percent complete, an ideal time to understand where variances occurred, and giving you a baseline for improving your performance. And then learning. Track the reasons that you're not meeting targets, develop the trends and patterns, focus on the areas where you can achieve greater gains, define your metrics and your KPIs, your planned percent complete or waiting caused by logistic failures, walking distance, material movement. Where can we apply lean construction? Well, lean really works with any type of contract, hard bid, construction management, design build. It can be integrated at any point in the construction process and integrated to any level in the construction process. Scale the system down so that you're using it within just your own operations and organization. The mentality and thought process is the same. It's not only applicable on large multi-employer projects. How can lean be applied? Well, implement it progressively and in different phases. First would be obtaining reliable workflow through impeccable coordination. Start as planned, finish as planned. And then integrate design and production, integrating the work structure and how the work is carried out. And then include facility use as an input to the design phase. And really, this is about getting all people on the project to the table earlier in the process, even within your own organization. Who should be applying lean? Well, everyone on the project team at all levels. Everyone should be expected to understand and participate. And personal experience at a basic level is a great way to understand the application, because really for this knowledge to become habit, the application needs to originate from the field. And it's going to require a shift in outlook. You'll have to have a different view and see problems as opportunities, because you got to be comfortable exposing the problems. It's the only way that they get fixed. You'll need to accept legitimate mistakes and use them as learning opportunities. Change the focus from blame to solutions. And then think about success as optimizing your throughput, which in practical terms means a high-quality product delivered in the shortest time possible. What are the potential challenges? Well, you're going to find struggles for a variety of reasons. Like any strategic shift, this will require a cultural shift. If a culture shift hasn't taken place or standalone tools are implemented, then short-term gains die down when champions leave and people fall back to old habits. Other reasons include the stakeholders not being included enough or the mentality is not embraced by the entire organization. You may not think that it applies to you or it doesn't fit your business. Well, just because it may not apply every time doesn't mean don't apply it when you can. Or perhaps you did try that before and you didn't see the opportunities or you didn't have much success. Well, did you have a structured approach and the proper tools to use it? Were you able to look deep enough or from a different angle to find significant tangible benefits? And then certainly, 2 other things to consider are it's a challenge to maintain productivity during times of change, and entropy is a structure's nemesis. A system takes effort to maintain. On an industry level, what does the bigger picture look like? Well, it's going to require rewiring the contractual framework, rethinking design and engineering, improving procurement and supply chain, infusing digital technology, new materials, and advanced automation. And we'll need to reskill the workforce. So why do we do all this? Well, the payoff with lean is real. It provides benefits to everyone involved in the project, including the owners, architects, engineers, and contractors. And these benefits include lower costs, fewer delays, better safety, fewer surprises, less waste, and owner, designer, and contractor satisfaction. What can you do now while you wait for the rest of the industry to catch up? Well, you can start right away. Are you an early adopter or a late follower? A survey by the Associated General Contractors of America found that only 13% of respondents are investing in aspects of lean construction. So, Now may be the time to take advantage of opportunities that your competitors may not be using. Make your business more effective than the next guy. And manage your expectations. This is a plan to start solving problems, not solve them all in one fell swoop. Start by improving on-site execution. Begin reskilling your workforce. Get everyone in your organization on the same page and aligned, looking for ways to reduce waste and improve value. You can say the status quo is not okay. The good news? Lean construction's ideal for the heavy civil industry. Because much of the work is linear and has a high degree of repetition, implementation is easier than other construction industries. And there's a strong likelihood that you're doing a lot of this already. Breaking down the project into executable chunks, getting others involved in preparing the schedule for those, tracking completion performance, noting variations, making changes based on that knowledge. Well, don't stop there. Now is the time to formalize what you're already doing and add more structure to it with Lean. Educate your organization and make it part of your organizational culture. Add more into what you're doing and then reap the benefits. So a few final thoughts. Lean construction provides the framework to allow you greater influence over managing your business, minimizing waste, increasing the reliability of team commitments, and building in continual improvement. Use Lean construction tools to make the transition easier. They are available to you. Turner Construction has a quote on their website that shares their Lean construction experience. Turner is employing Lean construction practices to drive efficiency on our projects. These techniques eliminate redundancy and waste, enhance collaboration, and improve project outcomes. And finally, my favorite quote from writer James Clear: the more disciplined your environment is, the less disciplined you need to be. Think about that. I'm Steve Hall. I hope this presentation provided some value for you, and I'm a phone call away if you care to chat about Lean and see where it can fit in your business.